Hey there, movie buffs and celebrity watchers! Are you ready to dive deep into the whirlwind life of Hollywood's most unpredictable star? Buckle up, because we're about to embark on an epic journey through the highs and lows, the hits and misses, and the outright wild escapades of Charlie Sheen. From shooting to stardom, with a speed that could rival a terminal velocity freefall, to navigating a career that's had more twists and turns than a high-octane action flick, Sheen's story is nothing short of cinematic gold. We'll uncover how this bad boy of Tinseltown went from commanding millions for blockbuster roles to battling personal demons and making headlines for all the wrong reasons. So, if you're itching for a story that combines talent, controversy, and a dash of Hollywood magic, you've hit the jackpot. Don't forget to hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, and ring the bell to get your front row ticket to the Charlie Sheen saga. Let's get started. Charlie Sheen, or as he was originally known, Carlos Estevez, shot to stardom in the Hollywood skies faster than a speeding bullet in the late 80s. It seemed like his future was set to outshine many of his contemporaries, who frankly didn't spark as much interest. Unlike Nicolas Cage, who tried his best to convince us he hadn't heard of The Godfather despite being Francis Ford Coppola's nephew, Charlie took a different route. Inspired by his dad, Martin Sheen, born Ramon Estevez, Charlie decided to roll with a stage name that was just as catchy. Since he was already being called Charles in English, it didn't take him long to settle on Charlie Sheen. His first major role didn't have him lost in the background. Nope, Charlie was front and center. Well, more accurately, he didn't have to play the fifth guy on the right in the third row. By 1984, Charlie landed a role in Red Dawn, a movie that, let's be honest, isn't exactly famous for its Oscar-worthy script today. Despite its laughable plot, the film was a hit at the box office, raking in $38 million from a modest $4 million budget. American audiences ate up the story of high schoolers fighting off communists, and Charlie, in one of the leading roles, got noticed. Back in those days, Charlie hadn't yet transformed into the notorious bad boy we'd come to know. On set, everyone had nothing but good things to say about him. The only thing that got on people's nerves was his incessant questioning about his acting skills. After every scene, he'd pester someone to critique his performance, always eager to improve or find solutions if he was too bad. Even after the success of Red Dawn, Charlie's career trajectory continued upward, yet he remained humble, often accepting roles in the background or secondary positions. Whether it was out of friendship or just because he felt like it, Charlie showed he was more than just a leading man, he was a team player. But little did anyone know, the real drama and headlines were yet to come in Charlie Sheen's career. 1986 was a pivotal year for Charlie Sheen, lighting up the silver screen in not one, but 6 movies. Among them was The Wraith, which, fun fact, featured Sheen in the leading role despite him only hanging around on set for a cool 2 weeks. Thanks to a scheduling miracle, he managed to squeeze this gig between other projects, under the strict condition he'd only be needed for those 2 weeks. Now, here's a juicy bit. Johnny Depp, then only known for his bit part in A Nightmare on Elm Street, was eyeing a role in The Wraith. Unfortunately for Depp, the filmmakers passed him over for Sheen. But twist of fate, Depp was dating Sherilyn Fenn at the time, who landed the female lead, so he ended up chilling with the crew for a month anyway. The Wraith hit the theaters with a whisper rather than a bang, and its performance on video remains a bit of a mystery. Had it been the golden age of video rental stores, maybe it would have been a different story. Another Sheen flick from '86, Lucas, made some waves but for reasons beyond its box office draw. It marked Winona Ryder's debut and, decades later, became mired in controversy with Corey Feldman accusing Sheen of assaulting Corey Haim during production. Haim's tragic overdose in 2010 and the subsequent accusations against Sheen stirred a Hollywood-sized pot of drama. Sheen denied everything, suing tabloids left and right. In a twist, Haim's mother sided with Sheen, pointing the finger at actor Dominic Brassia instead. And just when things couldn't get murkier, Brassia dies in 2018, amid whispers of his involvement in other unsavory activities. In 1986, Charlie Sheen's future looked brighter than a Hollywood premiere. Wrapping up the year was the explosive release of Oliver Stone's Platoon, a film that initially was set to star Charlie's brother, Emilio Estevez. However, financial hiccups and delays sent Emilio packing, and after a merry-go-round of potential leads, including a hesitant Keanu Reeves who balked at the film's intensity, Charlie snagged the leading role. Oh, and guess who made another cameo? That's right, Johnny Depp, darting around the set with a nod to his then-girlfriend, Sherilyn Fenn, literally written on his helmet. In the box office battleground, Platoon was a juggernaut, transforming a modest $6 million budget into a whopping $138 million haul, only trailing behind Top Gun and Crocodile Dundee for the year's top spots. Stone's masterpiece scooped up 4 Oscars, proving its mettle beyond the cash registers. While the Oscar spotlight might have danced around Charlie rather than directly on him, his bank account didn't seem to mind, jumping from $100,000 in '86 to $500,000 by '87. Sheen was laughing all the way to the bank. And though he hit a couple of bumps, the success of Wall Street, another Stone classic, kept his star shining bright. Post-Platoon, Oliver Stone was the director everyone in Hollywood wanted to work with. Imagine Tom Cruise, Mr. Mission Impossible himself, practically jogging circles around Stone, offering to star in Wall Street for free. But Stone, ever the stickler for sticking to his guns, politely declined. His first and only choice, Charlie Sheen. Now, for the role of the slick, money-hungry Gordon Gekko, Stone had his sights set on Michael Douglas, known more for his producing chops with hits like One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest than for any villainous roles. Despite warnings that Douglas might clash with Stone and potentially take over the project, Stone went ahead and signed him on. And guess what? Douglas was as professional as they come. No advice, no ego, just work. But yet, according to Douglas, working with Stone was like navigating through hell with a blindfold. Stone, in a move that would leave any actor questioning their career choices, once stormed into Douglas's trailer, accusing him of being on drugs simply because he looked too new at acting. This, Douglas later realized, was Stone's twisted way of motivating his cast, though it did render Douglas's trailer unfit for human habitation post-confrontation. As if directing wasn't hard enough, Stone found himself mediating between 2 actresses, Sheen Young and Daryl Hannah. Young, who was Aing, Hannah's role, turned the set into her personal drama stage, leading Stone to minimize her screen time drastically. Ironically, Hannah's performance in Wall Street earned her a Razzie for Worst Supporting Actress, marking Wall Street as the only film in history to bag both an Oscar and a Razzie, despite Michael Douglas and Charlie Sheen advising against casting Hannah. Stone's pride kept her in the film. Sean Young, meanwhile, just seemed to be in it for the drama. The Wall Street set was more than just a battleground for financial titans. It was the epicenter of some serious Hollywood ego clashes. Sean Young's suggestions to Charlie Sheen about enhancing his acting skills, or rather quitting the profession altogether to save Wall Street and the world from his presence, ignited a fiery response. Sheen, in a stealth move worthy of a Wall Street shark, slapped a note full of colorful language on Young's back. The crew, sworn to secrecy, or perhaps too amused, let her discover the surprise on her own. As for the fallout, once the note was discovered, that's one scene Hollywood's kept under wraps. In a twist of casting fate, Oliver Stone presented Sheen with an intriguing choice. Pick who would play his father in Wall Street between Jack Lemmon and Martin Sheen. Charlie's choice? His own dad, Martin Sheen, which might have seemed unexpected considering their known familial fireworks. Stone, harboring a secret wish for Martin Sheen to take the role, played a clever director's gambit, not knowing if Charlie would be on board for a family reunion on screen. Wall Street didn't break the box office, but did rake in a respectable $45 million against a $15 million budget, quickly ascending to cult status and catapulting Michael Douglas's career to stratospheric heights. Charlie Sheen didn't quite ride the same rocket to fame as Douglas, though his paycheck saw a significant boost, landing a cool $1 million for Major League, and potentially the same for Young Guns, had it not been a brotherly venture. Both films not only succeeded at the box office, but also spawned sequels, securing their spots in Hollywood's sequel-loving heart. Just when it seemed Charlie Sheen was on an unstoppable hot streak, his career hit a snag. The culprit, a notorious mix of relentless partying, and a penchant for trouble that saw him more often in the news for brawls and scandals than for his cinematic successes. Sheen's love life, especially, seemed to be a plot straight out of a soap opera, culminating in a headline-grabbing split from Kelly Preston. Legend has it, a slightly inebriated Sheen accidentally shot Preston in the arm, a story Sheen later clarified with a twist, claiming Preston shot herself while rummaging through his pants. These escapades frequently landed Sheen in court, where he'd be sentenced to community service or rehab, a far cry from the red carpet events one might expect of his status. The 90s saw his ascent in Hollywood slow to a crawl, with every hit like Hot Shots, matched by a handful of flops. Even teaming up with Clint Eastwood didn't turn the tides, resulting in a performance at the box office that could kindly be described as lukewarm. The final blow seemed to come with The Three Musketeers. Disney's big bet to launch a new franchise fizzled out at the box office, and plans for sequels vanished faster than a villain in a puff of smoke. Sheen's career, once soaring through the stratosphere, appeared to be in a tailspin, a stark reminder of how quickly fortunes can change in Tinseltown. Charlie Sheen hit a major snag with Terminal Velocity. Despite a whopping $6 million paycheck, a personal best at the time, Sheen was essentially Hollywood's last pick after a slew of A-listers passed on the role. Ironically, it was Nicolas Cage who missed out to Sheen, who would go on to action film fame, leaving us wondering what could have been with The Rock and beyond. Despite Terminal Velocity crashing harder than a lead balloon, Sheen proudly counts it among his best works, a sentiment not shared by critics and audiences. Its massive $50 million budget in 1994 dwarfed by the success of the more budget-conscious Speed, starring Keanu Reeves. The film also marked the dwindling of Nastassja Kinski's rising career. Yet Sheen seemed to land on his feet, thanks to a 5-picture deal with Disney, moving swiftly onto Shadow Conspiracy. Unfortunately, this film too found its place in the annals of box office bombs, with a $45 million budget, recouping a mere $3 million, effectively ending director George P. Cosmatos' career. The aftermath saw Sheen's career unable to recover, with subsequent projects dwindling in prominence and budget. Despite his known issues with substance abuse, Sheen sought redemption in roles that might rekindle his once luminous star. He even offered to pay his way into The Shawshank Redemption. But director Frank Darabont wasn't biting. Money Talks in 1997 could have been a turning point, but even with moderate success, it was Rush Hour that saved Chris Tucker and director Brett Ratner, leaving Sheen labelled as box office poison. Salvation seemed to come in 2003 with 2.5 Men, turning into a major hit. Yet Sheen's off-screen antics, delays, substance abuse, and tirades against the studio led to his dismissal in 2011, despite his demands for a staggering $3 million per episode. Riding the wave of the show's popularity, Sheen briefly found success with Anger Management, earning $10 million, but the show fizzled out, leaving Sheen to vanish into less memorable ventures. Today, facing health issues and legal battles, including his public acknowledgement of being HIV positive, Sheen seems to keep a positive outlook in public, despite his reduced screen presence.